Hello, friends. I am Rose. Welcome to Story with Blue Lady, where we bring you stories full of wonder and excitement. Let's get started. Today's story is Harry's Fishing. It was a bright and sunny morning on Decoration Day, a day that always brought excitement to the small town. Families gathered in anticipation for the celebration, preparing for parades, speeches, and tributes to honor the brave souls who had fought for their country. The air was alive with festivity and a sense of shared community. However, Harry, a boy of about 12, had different plans for the day. When his parents asked him to join the family for the celebrations, Harry declined, much to their surprise. "I'd rather go fishing," he said, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of adventure. "Lots of other fellows are going too." Fishing had always been Harry's favorite pastime. The idea of spending an entire day by the river, casting lines into the water, hoping for a big catch, it was simply irresistible. Harry began to gather his essentials for the trip. His fishing pole, a sturdy one his father had gifted him last Christmas, was first on the list. Next came his trusty gun, something he always took with him, just in case there was some kind of wild game to shoot. His dinner pail was packed with enough food to last him for the day: a couple of sandwiches, a slice of pie, and a jug of water. He also grabbed some matches, anticipating the need for a campfire, and finally, an umbrella. He had learned from previous outings that the sun could be relentless, or that a sudden shower could easily ruin the day. Satisfied with his preparations, he set everything outside the door and went off to hunt for some angleworms, the perfect bait for the trout he hoped to catch. Before leaving, his parents bid him goodbye with the usual warnings that parents give. "Take care of yourself, Harry," his mother called after him. "And don't go too far up the canyon." The walk back is always harder after a long day of fun. Harry, eager to start his adventure, nodded and waved them off. Little did he know that the day would be more eventful than he had anticipated. The journey to the river was uneventful, though the weight of his luggage, his fishing gear, gun, and dinner pail began to slow him down after a while. Still, Harry pressed on, determined to find the perfect spot to cast his line. He found a shaded area by the water's edge, where the river's flow was steady, but not too fast. It seemed like the ideal place for trout, and Harry wasted no time in setting up his equipment. He carefully baited his hook with one of the wriggling angleworms and cast his line into the water, watching with excitement as it disappeared beneath the surface. Hours passed, and though Harry had hoped for a quick catch, the fish seemed uninterested in his bait. His patience began to wear thin. The sun was now high in the sky, and the umbrella he had brought proved to be a good decision as it shielded him from the scorching rays. He munched on his sandwiches, his eyes never leaving the water, waiting for any sign of a nibble. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Harry felt a strong tug on his line. His heart raced with excitement as he struggled to reel it in. "I've got one! I've got one!" he shouted, even though no one was around to hear him. The fish put up a good fight, pulling and jerking the line, but Harry was determined. After a few tense moments, he managed to pull the trout out of the water. It wasn't a large fish about 5 inches long, but to Harry, it was a prize worthy of celebration. As he admired his catch, something unexpected happened. The line got tangled around the fish's body, and in his panic, Harry feared the fish would escape. Without thinking, he grabbed his gun and shot the trout to make sure it wouldn't get away. There was no danger of that, Harry's father would later remark with a laugh, but at that moment, Harry felt like a hero. He had caught his first fish of the day, and nothing was going to stop him from bringing it home. With his trout safely in hand, Harry began the long trek back home. The journey back was harder than he had anticipated. His feet were blistered from all the walking, and his luggage seemed to weigh twice as much as it had in the morning. To make matters worse, a stray dog came out of nowhere and made off with his dinner pail, leaving him with nothing but his trout. Harry chased the dog for a few yards, but soon gave up, deciding that the trout was the real prize anyway. By the time Harry arrived home, it was late afternoon, and he was a sight to behold. His clothes were torn and dirty, his umbrella was broken, and the dinner pail was dented and missing its cover. He looked exhausted but proud as he held up his catch for his mother to see. "Look, Mom. I caught this for your supper," he announced triumphantly. The trout, though small and a bit ragged from the shot, was still an achievement in Harry's eyes. He had worked hard for it, and no one else was allowed to have even a taste. His mother, always kind and understanding, smiled at Harry's excitement but suggested they save the trout for breakfast. "Harry, don't make a fire tonight. It'll heat the house too much, and the trout will be just fine for breakfast." Harry, however, wasn't convinced. But what if the housekeeper eats it? "Trout is tempting, you know." His mother reassured him that the housekeeper wouldn't touch the fish. Still worried, Harry decided to bury the trout in the garden to keep it cool overnight. He spent the next half-hour digging a hole and carefully wrapping the fish in paper cloth and leaves to protect it. Satisfied with his efforts, Harry finally came inside and collapsed on the lounge, recounting his day's adventures to his mother. As he lay there, Harry began to worry about whether the fish would be safe in the garden. He peered out the window and saw the neighbor's dog sniffing around the fresh mound of earth. Alarmed, Harry leapt to his feet and chased the dog away. Determined not to lose his precious catch, he dug up the trout and decided to cook it right then and there. Despite his mother's protests, Harry kindled a fire in the kitchen and placed the trout in the oven. "Baked trout, Mother, is a delicacy enjoyed by epicures," he said proudly as he prepared to play his flute while the fish baked. His mother, knowing how much the day meant to him, indulged his enthusiasm and left him to his task. After a while, the trout was done. Unfortunately, it had been left in the oven a bit too long, and by the time his mother checked on it, the fish was dry and overcooked. But Harry didn't mind. He had caught, cooked, and served a trout all by himself, and that was enough for him. When his mother gently suggested that they save the fish for breakfast, Harry, now exhausted, from the day's excitement, agreed. As he prepared for bed, Harry expressed his joy in knowing that his mother had the chance to enjoy the trout, even if it wasn't the best meal she'd ever had. "Mother, I enjoyed your having that trout more than if I had eaten it myself," he said, with a contented smile. Touched by her son's thoughtfulness, his mother offered him some raspberry pie and milk. "You must be starving," she said. Harry's eyes lit up as he devoured the food, finishing his day with a full belly and a heart full of happiness. "Mother," he said with a grin, "I couldn't love you more if you were an angel." And with that, Harry went to bed, dreaming of his next great adventure, his love for his mother stronger than ever, and the knowledge that sometimes the best part of an adventure isn't the catch, but the joy of sharing it with the ones you love. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more magical adventures. Until next time.